Welcome to this video. So I'm doing this video because I get asked so frequently by participants in a Pilates class, what can they do to look after their back? So I'm going to show you 3 very simple positions and exercise progressions that are really useful. It doesn't matter whether you've got a back problem from going too far back, an extension injury, or whether you've got a disc problem from coming forward or a rotation. These 3 exercises will stabilize you and teach your skeleton how to be held in a really efficient way. So the first thing we're going to do is lie on the back. So feel free to watch and get a handle on the position before you do it. So as I said, we're training the skeleton. So the big thing to be aware of right now is where's your head in space. Try not to collapse the neck and try not to overarch it, so your eye gaze goes straight up. The second part of our spine is our rib cage, and a lot of us when we lie down will lift our rib bones too high, and some of us will flatten it. The idea is to get the ribs down, but at the same time maintaining a small little hollow in your lower back. And then the third part of the spine is the pelvis. So with the pelvis, pretty well most of us over the years tend to just collapse our lower back into the ground. It's commonly what we've done in the fitness world. But what we're going to try and do today is do something called neutral. So we've got little bones at the front of our hips and we're going to make them horizontal to the floor. Now, don't worry too much about the number or the amount of arch that your back has. Everyone will be different, but there will be a small hollow. So just getting yourself in this position is retraining your spine. So first position is learning where neutral is. Once you've got this position, we need to address the way the muscles stabilize. So imagine that you've got a great big internal belt and a sling going through a bit like a nappy. So you need to pull the muscles in from the side, in from the front, and up from the base. In that position, the belly stays on. Breathing can be a challenge though, so at the same time we're holding our abdominals on, we need to learn how to breathe. So we inhale through the nose, and it's a very effective mechanism to breathe out the mouth. When you breathe out the mouth, you feel your abdominal muscles contract. So there's a lot of good research at the moment looking at breathing out with sound and how effective that is on making those deep muscles stabilize your lower back. So feel free to work on that. So exercise number 1. First thing, be in neutral. Second thing, keep the abdominals contracted and still. And then the third thing is, can you breathe without your belly rising and falling? So this would be a bad example. I inhale and the belly lifts, and I exhale and the belly drops. Just for the purpose of our training of our abdominal muscles, we need to keep the abdominals still. So a good example is we breathe the ribs wideways, belly stays still, and we exhale. So lying like this, spending a minute or 2 in this position each day is teaching your body 2 things. 1, where neutral skeleton is, and 2, how the abdominal muscles control the spine. If you get any stress or tension in your lower back in this position, you might wish to pull the knees into your chest and lengthen your back a little bit and try again. There might be discomfort, but we're not looking at doing any exercises in pain. So that's our first exercise. It's called crook lying or supine lying. We hold neutral hips, ribs, and head. We engage the core and we breathe without any movement of the abdominals. 1 or 2 minutes in this position. So we can progress this position, keeping everything still. Remember, the exercise is stability. So keeping the arch that you've made under your lower back, keep the abdominals still. We inhale. As you exhale, float one leg up without destabilizing your hips. Now, if you flex the foot in the air, we actually know that that engages the abdominal muscles more. So if you pull your toenails to your kneecaps, you'll engage the core more. Hold it here for 3 breaths, 5 breaths, and once again, if you get any sensation in your lower back, regress to the first exercise and take it down. Now, it might take you a couple of months before you feel stable in this position. And the third level, once you feel good and controlled on both single legs, would be to end up with 2 feet off the floor. But we never lift both up together. So we maintain the neutral, inhale to prepare. As you exhale, float the leg back up, toenails come back to the knees. Second one's quite challenging, so you might like to place a hand here and here under the back and on the belly to make sure there's no movement. Inhale without the belly rising. Exhale, keep that really tight, and then pull the other knee up so everything stays still. And then you hold it here. 3 breaths, 5 breaths, 10 breaths if you want to. Once again, there should be no pain. And also try and relax around the shoulders and the neck. When you feel that you've been there enough, or when the body starts to shake or the belly starts to rise, exhale 1 foot down. You're still doing the exercise even as you replace the other foot. Keep still and bring it down. So that's exercise number 1, and it's called crook lying. It's really important to have the spine in neutral. Exercise number 2, so we're talking about the back, and a lot of the time you get backache not because the lower back is our problem, but often because both the glute muscles or the butt muscles and the upper back is our problem. So if you imagine like a zigzag, upper back, belly, and butt is like here, here, and here. That's where our focal point is. And unfortunately, our lower back takes a lot of the work because the other 3 areas don't do their job. So in this one, we're going to fire up, first of all, the upper back. So we still need to have the pelvis in that neutral, so roll on your pelvis. If you've got a lot of tension in your lower back, you might need to pull the tailbone towards your heels. But if you've got a great big tucked under and your butt cheeks feel really tight and switched on, you might need to roll your tailbone slightly up to the ceiling. We're looking for that neutral, that small curve in your lower back. Also the rib cage, so still lie the rib cage balanced and try not to twist. And in this one, the head's just going to stay in what we call neutral, so it's floating off the floor. Sometimes placing your hands under can keep it in the right spot. Then hold your head there, because now you're starting to work the muscles of the back of the neck and a little bit through the upper back already, and that's the weak part of our back. So holding this position, we now engage the core. So the belly, we try not to sit on it, just like we did on the first position, crook lying. We draw the abdominal muscles in, we lift the pelvic floor muscles up, and we try and have less pressure on our belly on the ground. Hands come back down. So this is a prone extension exercise, not for your lower back, for your upper back. So I walk my fingers to my feet, lengthening the neck. I lift my shoulders to the ceiling, engaging my upper back muscles a little bit. Inhale, keep the belly still, and then exhale, just float the upper back just a tiny bit off the floor, it's not very much, and then bring it back down. Now you can do it 2 ways. Way number 1 is just to hover, and way number 2 is to lift and lower. Now, once again, there should be no pain in your lower back when you're doing this one. The sensation is the whole of the rib cage, right up to the shoulders, the whole upper back is working. We can also pull the shoulder blades together at the same time, especially if you have a tendency to round shoulder in your body. And of course, the head position. Try not to look forward and cause compression, or drop it down and cause a weakness through there. So once again, body's in neutral. Abdominal muscles are engaged. Walk your fingers to your feet, lift your shoulders, float your head. Take a breath in without sitting on the belly, and float the upper back. You can lift the arms if you wish, and then release it back down. If you're doing that exercise well, you'll feel it a lot in your upper back, not your lower back. So the third exercise, so the first one was lying on our back. And when you're lying on the back, gravity helps you engage the muscles because it pushes the belly in. The second one was lying on our front, and that way we have to work into gravity. So we pull the muscle in against gravity. And at the same time, we're training our upper back to get strong against gravity. So this third exercise is particularly important to control how the lower back rotates. It's quite a challenging one, and there's a few levels to do. So we start in 4-point kneeling, or all fours. It's got a few names, this position. Shoulder and wrist are stacked vertically, and knee and hip is stacked vertically. And now we're starting to load the upper body as well, so you might find that you force through. It's what we call push. So you push the body upward and you push the ribs outward so the shoulder blades are stable on the upper back. We still consider where the head is in space. We've got that same three concepts: the head, the ribs, and the hips. So have your head where you'd have good standing posture. Have the rib cage where you'd have good standing posture. So then we need to consider our lower back, because that's the area that so many of us get pain in. The two most common problems in the lower back is to collapse down and have this great big back arch, or we tend to tuck under and flatten the lower back, and both of those put stress in the back. So once again, we're looking for neutral. A few ways you can find this, but one useful technique is to put your hand on the muscles. They're on either side of your spine, and when you've got too much of an arch, those muscles are really tight, they're really, really hard, and when the back is too flat, those muscles switch off. So neutral is halfway, where you've got a spring-like trampoline, soft tension on either side of the spine bones. That's what we call neutral. So once again, the first progression is, can I hold this? Can I breathe without moving my abdominal muscles? So I've lifted my belly into my body, I've pulled my pelvic floor up toward the inside, and I'm doing that without changing where my skeleton is. Then of course I try not to hold my breath, so we inhale. You can make that sound again as you breathe out, and stay here 3 breaths, 5 breaths, 10 breaths. So you can progress this one, and when we progress it, the tendency is the body to either shift sideways or to rotate. So we hold the body really still, push through the floor and engage your core. And the progression is inhale, exhale, without moving the body, just stretch one leg back. So we've kept the hips still, the lower back still, the head, the ribs and the pelvis in neutral. You can stay here for a couple of breaths, 3 breaths, 5 breaths once again. And if you feel quite steady over time, really squeeze the glute of that leg that's behind. That's your butt muscle. So you squeeze this muscle strongly, and you start to get some stability from the lower part of the body as well. Eventually, when that glute muscle feels strong, and it doesn't take you any moment at all just to tighten it, you can float that leg, not very high. There's no need to lift it horizontal yet. So you're just making the glute muscle engage without changing the shape of your lower back. And you can place it down. So option 1, stay in kneeling and hold, engage your core. Option 2, without shifting from side to side, stretch one foot back and just hold. From here, start to squeeze the glute. Option 3, you can either lift the leg a little way and hold, or you can toe touch and lift. Eventually, you can alternate. So as we take the leg back, the lower back doesn't shift. As we change sides, the hips don't twist or move laterally. And the final outcome of this one is, can you be so stable that you can float an arm, forward fingers down or forward fingers up. Thumb to ceiling is a much more effective way of training the upper back muscles, particularly the lower trap. When we come back down, everything from the pelvis, the ribs and the head hasn't moved. Really hard exercise, really worthwhile working on. Lots of practice. It's amazing what it'll do for your back though. And in particular, that one that stops you from rotating works little tiny muscles that climb up your lower back, and they're stabilizers of rotation. And really commonly, those are the muscles that get weak. So we know that there's a combination of muscles. So the 3 exercises that we did, lying on the back, lying on the front, and all fours, are designed to stabilize your lower back, switch on the upper back, switch on the core, and start to engage the glutes. And in our second little video series, we'll look more about how the glutes and the butt muscle contributes to lower back stability. So enjoy those ones, and feel free to send me a little message and let me know how you're going. So enjoy your back work.